I'm Ashley Brown, and I am 31 years old. I've been married to Kevin Simpson for 6 years. We have been unable to have children for 2 years into our marriage. So we've been undergoing infertility treatments for 4 years. I met Kevin while I was working as a nurse at a university hospital, where he was a pharmacist in the hospital pharmacy. Upon marrying, Kevin took over his family's business, Simpson Pharmacy. As a wedding gift, my father, who is a doctor, gave us a house and a car. Now, I live peacefully as a housewife in our spacious home. Sleeping here again? You'll catch a cold. Kevin was asleep with his head on the desk in the study. The Simpson Pharmacy, inherited from his father, needed various reforms. And Kevin has been studying late every night. Is it okay to have documents scattered everywhere? Aren't you missing any important documents? Even when I asked, Kevin showed no signs of waking up. I was lightly tidying up around the study. However, I accidentally knocked over the trash can, causing Kevin's commuter bag to tilt and its contents to spill out. Ugh. This is the worst, it's even messier now. As I was trying to put the commuter bag back, I found something unbelievable. What's this? I held a photo of an unknown child and a woman who seemed to be a mistress. That wasn't all. A signed divorce paper was also prepared. This woman, whom I suspected to be a mistress, I knew her very well. It was Rachel Manning, a junior nurse when I was working at the university hospital. Unforgettable for her obvious flirting with doctors. So, Kevin was an easy target for you after you couldn't get a doctor. Huh, Rachel? Bring it on. I'll deal with this thoroughly. I decided to act as usual for the time being and filed for divorce without Kevin knowing when he went on a business trip. I thought I at least owed an explanation to his parents and went to his family home. Father, mother, this is serious. Ashley. Well, I'm sorry about this, our son has. Daniel seemed to be searching for the right words. Well, I'm turning 60 and planning to retire from the pharmacy. Kevin took over, but when it comes to his successor, all I can think about is having a grandchild. It's unfortunate for Ashley, but Rachel. You know Rachel, right? Since Rachel has given birth to the successor, we thought of having Kevin divorce Ashley and remarry Rachel. You might forgive Kevin because you love him. But forgiving Rachel is out of the question. I understand, but I think Ashley is misunderstanding Rachel. Rachel was kind enough to write a letter to me and my wife. She wrote candidly about her feelings for Kevin and about the child. Rachel has deceived them beautifully. Everything is proceeding exactly as Rachel planned. If that's the case, I have my own plan. I sold the house and car, and disappeared completely. It seems Kevin Simpson and his parents were quite panicked and went looking for me. Eventually, it must have been my father who disclosed my location. They even brought Rachel Manning along to the villa owned by my father where I was staying. I don't know what you plan to say, but I have evidence. I hired a detective and have lots of photos as evidence. It's showtime to wake up Kevin's parents who have been deceived by Rachel. Kevin and Rachel sat on the sofa facing me, while my father-in-law and mother-in-law brought chairs from the dining table and sat down. Long time no see, Rachel. Never thought we'd meet again like this. After all, you were only interested in doctors, right? Did you expand your scope to include pharmacists as well? Because you couldn't get a doctor. Oh, I see. You turned 30 and no one was paying attention to you anymore. So you went after Kevin. Don't just blame Rachel. I'm equally at fault, and we're already divorced. Kevin was defiant. It's astonishing he can take such a stance at this point. Then why did you look for me? You should have just left me alone. Well, everything from the house to the car disappeared. So I thought maybe Ashley had gotten some weird ideas. Huh? As if I would do such a thing. It seems they thought I was so shocked that I couldn't stand up from the damage. As if that's the case. I'm not that fragile. I have truths that would surprise you all. And I have all the evidence to back it up. It's inevitable that I'm blamed. But Rachel has my 2-year-old child. I know Ashley went through a lot with the infertility treatments. But I still have to take responsibility, right? Father, mother, the letter you received from Rachel, it's all lies, you know? I was laying a trap. Even with a detective, I couldn't get the contents of the letter they received from Rachel. But it must have been a sob story portraying her as a tragic heroine. Rachel understands Kevin well. At least she doesn't stir up his complex about not being able to become a doctor. Ashley's father can do anything for her, right? But sometimes, we feel it belittles the Simpson family. Rachel respects Kevin and is kind to us too. She brought us the good news we've been longing for, a grandchild. After all, as business owners, the issue of a successor is inevitable. Rachel is like a real daughter to us, warming up to me and your father. And even gave us a grandchild. She said she'd live with us if she married Kevin. And take care of us in our old age. It's amazing how different two nurses can be. I'm aware that Daniel and Susan always felt uncomfortable with the stark differences between my family and theirs. But at least I never acted arrogantly or bragged. So, Rachel passes and I fail as a wife? Daniel and Susan exchanged glances and communicated through eye contact. Given how rare it is for young people to write letters these days, Daniel and Susan were completely moved by Rachel Manning's letter. Shall we drop a bombshell here? I laid out several photos on the glass table. This is Rachel in these photos, right? And the man just in front of her is her lover, isn't he? What? Rachel's lover? Daniel and Susan leaned forward to look at the photos. She has been in a relationship with this man for 3 years. 3 years? That's around the time she started seeing me, isn't it? You're really oblivious, Kevin. This man is the father of Rachel's child. That can't be right. I've been supporting Rachel and ensuring our son Justin had everything he needed for these 3 years. Don't talk nonsense, saying he's not my child. Jealousy is so unbecoming. That's not like you, Ashley. I understand you don't want to believe it, but there's something decisive. Kevin, Daniel, and Susan waited with bated breath for the next words. Rachel's eyes were swimming. She must be scared. Her eyes always darted around like that when she was a nurse and lacked confidence. Kevin and I have been undergoing infertility treatments for 4 years. Still, we weren't blessed with a child. But there's a reason for that. Kevin has azoospermia. He doesn't have any sperm. For 4 years, I've been sacrificing my body for nothing. Is that true? If this is just some spiteful lie from Ashley, it's a cruel joke. Choose your words carefully. Here is a medical certificate from the doctor. But you won't believe just that, will you? Why don't we do a DNA test? I've already discussed it with my father, it can be done anytime. This is a DNA kit. You just need to put your saliva on this cotton swab. What do you say, Kevin? Rachel? We definitely want that test to be done. That way, Rachel can prove once and for all that Justin is truly Kevin's child. Kevin can't continue to see Justin under these uncertain circumstances, can he? We also want to know if he truly is our grandson and worthy of being a successor. I refuse. When a woman gets pregnant, she has a way of knowing who the father is. It's almost like an intuition. You've been very confident in what you've been saying, Ashley. But you could have arranged all of this, right? Then, what's your relationship with the man in these photos? These photos were taken in front of a hotel, right? Not just that, the reports say you've been visiting this man's house frequently. And moreover, you leave Justin behind when you meet him, don't you? No, not just when you meet him. You frequently leave Justin with your parents and go out, right? Where is that money coming from? This man is a friend, yes, a friend. He's not good with kids, so I can't bring Justin along. This guy. It seems Kevin finally remembered. He raised his voice emotionally all of a sudden. This guy, he's Rachel's ex, isn't he? Rachel was being bothered by him, so I paid him off, right? Was that it? While we're at it, shall we also do a DNA test with this ex-boyfriend and Justin? Regardless of who the father is, Justin thinks of Kevin as his father. Don't take away Justin's father, Kevin, for his sake. Firstly, it's strange that this boyfriend met through a matching app. Nowadays, 1 in 5 couples get married through a matching app. Nothing is strange in today's world. I don't see what's so weird at all. Though we're only a year apart. Ashley, you've always been a bit of a busybody old lady, haven't you? What are you talking about? I've always covered for your mistakes. All that was ever in your head was how to snag a doctor. As if a smart doctor would ever choose someone like you. They'd choose someone intellectual and refined. A woman who wouldn't embarrass them by walking beside them. You wanted to marry a doctor and live a leisurely, luxurious life. But no doctor ever gave you the time of day, did they? I remember those days well. It was where I met Kevin and was burdened with taking care of Rachel. Kevin often delivered medication to the surgical ward where Rachel and I were. Especially in the afternoon. I couldn't talk to Dr. Smith today either. I gave my contact info to Dr. Owen, but he hasn't made a move. Every day, Rachel was like this. Kevin and I were just a nurse and a pharmacist working at the same hospital. But it all started when I was hurt over something, and he was there for me, showing kindness. Did you forgive him? For the affair Ashley had with a doctor. Ashley started dating you because she was dumped by that doctor, right? When she was hurt, you were kind to her. And she took advantage of that kindness to start a relationship, right? At least, that's how I see it. I hear nurses often have bad taste in men, and it's true. Ashley had an affair, and Rachel lies and deceives Kevin. So this is what nurses, who are supposed to heal and provide comfort, are really like. Despite coming from a good family, Ashley, it seems like you have no sense of morality. Aren't you ashamed? It's true I had an affair, so I can't retort without making excuses. I truly leaned on Kevin when I was heartbroken, and there's no disputing that. From the start, there was too much of a class difference between Ashley's family and ours. Ashley's family are doctors, while we just run a small, modest pharmacy. It was never a match. Ashley lived a life without hardships and never managed household tasks perfectly. My mother-in-law's attacks inevitably target me, the daughter-in-law. It's true that Kevin became my emotional support. That's why, despite the hardship of infertility treatments, I held on to hope for a child with Kevin. Knowing that behind my back for 3 years. He had a mistress and was squandering his money on her. Do you still blame me, Susan? I can understand why Kevin had a mistress. There were so many times he felt we were from different worlds. Being with Ashley was always so tense for him. In contrast, Rachel must have been a time of healing for Kevin. Father, mother, even with all this evidence, you still defend Rachel? Rachel was two-timing Kevin with a man she met on a matching app, you know? She shifted to Kevin because the guy from the app wouldn't take responsibility. Kevin was just being used. She thought Kevin was an easy target, didn't she? You say that, but wasn't I the one who played Cupid for you and Kevin? Have you forgotten? Indeed, Rachel was the one who invited me to a mixer after I broke up with my affair partner and was feeling down. I knew Kevin by face and name, but we weren't close. Kevin was interested in me and consulted a colleague, who was Rachel's batchmate, making it happen. If you were playing Cupid, why did you make a move on Kevin? On purpose, right? Because he was my husband, you wanted to take him, right? Don't flatter yourself. What do you mean, take him because he was your husband? I've had a good impression of Kevin since we were at the university hospital. I thought I wanted to be with someone like him. Stop with the sweet talk. You liked that doctor I had an affair with, didn't you? I knew that much. So, you snitched to his wife, right? Your husband is having an affair. You remember that time, don't you? I had a bad feeling when Rachel found out about the affair with the doctor. She was the last person who should have known. And my intuition was correct. What you did, getting paid back, is only natural. Even if I was in a relationship with Kevin, it's atonement for the sin you committed in the past. But using Kevin, claiming he's the father of a child that's not his, to tie him down? Kevin adores Justin. Justin doesn't doubt for a second that Kevin is his father. Then why were you two-timing with the boyfriend you met on the matching app? You wanted to rely on Kevin financially, didn't you? That boyfriend of yours is unemployed, after all. Rachel, your strike zone is quite wide, isn't it? From aiming for doctors to eventually settling for unemployed guy. It just shows that you've become realistic, Rachel. You've grown up, haven't you? Thank you for the compliment. But in the end, Kevin and Ashley got divorced, so I win. You didn't know we were dating, did you? If you had known, Ashley, you wouldn't have kept quiet. Ashley, you're quite oblivious, aren't you? Kevin was pretty careless too, but I'm surprised it never came out. Maybe you just lost interest in Kevin? As a couple, you were already over. It wasn't a lack of interest. It was because I trusted Kevin. After all the courtship and getting married, I never imagined. I must have been overconfident that I was loved. Father, mother, you might not want to see this, but please take a look. These are email exchanges between Rachel and the guy from the matching app. I placed the copied email conversations on the table. I still have cards to play. Even the detective praised how well they were obtained. Apparently, she bribed the guy from the matching app with money. After all, Rachel's relationship with him was fragile. Great. When I said Justin was sick and I needed to take him to the hospital, but didn't have the money, he immediately transferred it. Kevin is like a money tree. But lately, he's been saying he wants to divorce his wife and marry me. And he wants me to live with his parents. That's a joke, right? Why should I live with old people? He totally sees me as a caretaker. Kevin can say some really insensitive things. Well, Kevin used to be cool when he was at the university hospital. But now he's just an old man. Ever since he took over the family pharmacy, he's let himself go and aged all at once. It's just him and his parents at the workplace. No need for competitive spirit or ambition. Even Kevin, who used to look so cool, has ended up like that. Aging is scary, huh? There's more, do you want to see? Rachel was clearly shaken. She hadn't expected there to be so much evidence. It must have been unexpected that the guy from the matching app would betray her. However, among the email exchanges obtained by the detective, there was no definite text stating the father of the child. If anything, this text might be it. Why? Don't you believe me? Justin is Kevin's child. Well, the timing overlaps, but I took the morning after pill. Don't worry, I won't ask for affection or to go somewhere together. Kevin? Kevin is our ATM, so I'll act accordingly in front of him. As an actress, Rachel Manning. What do you think about this? From what I see here, it would seem that Kevin is the child's father. But it seems Ashley just can't accept that Rachel's child is Kevin's. I plan to settle this with a DNA test, but are you, Daniel and Susan, okay with leaving things uncertain? If that's the case, it seems there's no need to bother with a DNA test. Since I've divorced Kevin, you are free to do as you please. Whether it's remarrying Rachel or taking the child into your family registry. I'm just making sure you know what kind of person Rachel is. So you, father and mother, don't have to suffer later. After all, she isn't even taking care of her son, is she? Be prepared to be burdened with his care. From the looks of the email, Rachel has no intention of living with you. Daniel and Susan. Wait a minute. I was almost left in the dark. But I had no idea Rachel was saying things like this behind my back. That ex, he just wants to interfere with us, right? Now Kevin speaks to Rachel with a hint of anxiety. Kevin himself can be insensitive and oblivious. What's the status with this guy from the matching app now? Huh? That's what I'm saying, he's just a friend. We've been close since before I started dating Kevin, like a best friend. I don't have many female friends, right? But in exchange, I have a lot of male friends. Women can be petty and hold grudges, like Ashley, which is unattractive, right? But male friends are straightforward and genuine. And it's comfortable being with them. That's why I'll continue to be good friends with him going forward. Of course, a woman like you wouldn't be liked by the same gender. You embody all the traits that women dislike. A perfect example of a woman disliked by other women. But the email says you have no intention of marrying me. I was planning to marry Rachel, even wrote the divorce papers. I never said anything about divorcing Ashley. Kevin, you rushed into things on your own, didn't you? But isn't there a responsibility as Justin's father? Wasn't it the discussion that included getting married and raising Justin together? My parents even agreed to help with raising the child, including living together. The conversation is going in a weird direction. It's all because Ashley had to interfere. Suddenly, the house and car were gone, and I was left with nothing. While Ashley is relaxing in her villa. Really, Ashley, who grew up like a princess, doesn't think about others. And hiring a detective to expose all this. You want to frame me and Rachel, but it's none of your business anymore. Yes, that's right. It's no longer my concern. But it has been proven that you are infertile. I pointed emphatically at the medical certificate I had laid out on the table earlier. Even with this, do you still acknowledge that Rachel's child is yours? That's just a fake diagnosis. You can forge anything these days. Just because you can't have children, you're trying to stop me? I understand. I arranged this meeting out of the last bit of kindness I had. But it seems completely pointless. You'll never realize that you're just playing into Rachel's plan. Please, feel free to leave. Wait a minute. I want to know how Rachel feels. Do you want to marry Kevin and live with him and your son? Or not? It feels like you're dodging the question. I think what Ashley has done for you here is a final act of kindness. After all, you were married for 6 years, Ashley must have some affection for you. People say blood ties don't matter, but I'm not confident I can truly love and cherish a grandchild who's not related by blood. It doesn't bother me much. I can see him as an important grandson who will carry on our legacy. Honey, you always talk about a successor. But do you realize how tough the pharmacy's business is? I handle the finances, and at this rate, it might end with Kevin's generation. Actually, it's difficult to say this. We've been asking Ashley's father for financial help. This was news to me. Given the pride of the Simpson family, Susan must have been in a dire situation to humbly ask for help. Despite complaining about not getting along with my father, saying our worlds were different, they turn to him when money is tight. Quite convenient. So, that's why you're talking about selling the store? What? Huh? No, well, I was going to talk about it, but I think the store is not going to make it. Everyone would rather go to a big pharmacy chain anyway. The store has a limited selection and nothing new. And yet, everything is overpriced, so of course, customers don't come. Worst comes to worst, both Dad and I have our pharmacist licenses. So we can find jobs anywhere. So, I think it's better to just sell the store and be done with it. So that's it. Rachel is indeed a calculating woman. Using marriage with Kevin as bait to push for the sale of the pharmacy and get the money was her goal. Without such perks, there's no reason for her to cling to Kevin. If she can push her child onto him and also profit financially, then he's worth using. Kevin's obliviousness, even now, is truly pitiful. Don't mess around. Who said anything about selling the store? You, a junior, have no right to decide that. This store has been in our family since my grandfather's time. You've worked hard during your training at the university hospital. And I was hoping you would help make the store more successful. And now you're talking about selling it on your own? What are you thinking? Exactly, our pharmacy may be small and losing customers. But we still have regulars who come to us. Many people say they would be in trouble if Simpson Pharmacy were gone. It's those people who have supported us and kept our community pharmacy going.
Yeah.
That's true. I understand how my parents feel. Mom, you think the management is tough too, right? If that's the case, selling it would clear everything up. And we'd benefit financially too. We could even use that money to rebuild into a duplex. So, that was the reason behind the discussion of living together. Maybe they felt cramped in the condominium my father bought for us. At their family home, they wouldn't have to hold back or keep everything pristine. But living with parents is something a woman like Rachel would hate the most. Does Kevin think everything will always go his way? It seems like the direction of this conversation is off, so I'm going to bow out here. Confused by what bowing out it means, Kevin, Daniel, and Susan all focus on Rachel. I thought living with Kevin and Justin wouldn't be too bad, but it's not what I want. I can't see myself settling into a domestic life. Being a housewife sounds the most boring and is the last thing I'd want to be. Guess this is goodbye to Kevin. Wait, just a minute. What do you mean? I've divorced Ashley and I'm ready to accept Justin. Dad and Mom understand about Justin. And yet you say, goodbye. Literally, goodbye. I'm just tired of it all. It feels like I've reached my goal. Right, Rachel's goal was to break up me and Kevin. But since the plan to sell the pharmacy seems to be falling through, you're preemptively pulling out from the Simpson family, right? Quick on the uptake, Ashley. So Kevin was just a means to an end? Exactly. Things are getting complicated, so I'm leaving. Rachel. Wait. Let's talk this through properly. I can't just let it end like this. Kevin runs after Rachel. Daniel looks skyward, while Susan looks down. A month has passed since the discussion at the villa. I've moved to Hawaii. Living a leisurely life in a villa in Hawaii. In this liberating land, I even sense the beginnings of a new romance. Soon after, Simpson Pharmacy closed down. Not due to a sale as Kevin mentioned, but more accurately, it went under due to running at a loss. Far from making a profit, they ended up in debt. It seems Rachel and Kevin broke up after that. Without any benefit to being with Kevin, she had no reason to stay. At the same time, she broke up with the guy from the matching app. After the supposed father of her child ran off, Rachel, left without financial support, started working. She constantly leaves her child with her parents and works at a hospital, utilizing her nursing qualification. However, she's terribly incompetent at her job and gets fired quickly. Rachel hops from job to job, leading an unstable life.